right, guys. Sit tight, y'all, for just a moment. We got sprinkles starting. So, let me swing you back around to the Whiteside Tunnel. Just as he came by, we started getting ready. So, 1 second while we finish that, handle that problem, because I don't want you to miss out on the rest of the story where we are. All right. We got the umbrella up once again today on our travels. We had to have it this morning. Looks like we're going to have it again now. Let me make sure we don't have any water on the lens. Tuck everything in the production truck here real quick. Stand by. Okay, just as he started to come down the mountain, it started to rain. Imagine that. Rail fans, thanks for being with Casey and I here on part 2 of today's journey. Oh, the wind is picking up. Let me throw a weight so we don't end up back in the rain here real quick. Okay, we're back, and we are in Whiteside, Tennessee. I have the dead cat on the recording device, but we are just off of Interstate 24, and behind me you see that ambulance go by. You see the Whiteside Tunnel, made in, it's a 400-foot tunnel that was dug in 1858. Let me tell you a little bit about where we are. Since we are on a upgrade hill, behind me, downgrade. Let me swing you and let you look east while we talk a little bit. All right. This line where we are currently was part of the Nashville and Chattanooga track line. And originally it was just a single line that was laid here in 1852. Just went past us was a rail maintenance train, a rail carrying train. And how would you like to have your office on the back of that train, like the two guys that we saw? And our engineer gave us a huge wave, matter of fact, two of them, in addition to a horn salute right here at the tunnel. And across the way, there is the milepost 139, including what I would suspect are a few bullet practice marks. And swinging back up the mountain is our tunnel. Center on that for you a little bit, just give you a perspective. And that is what most of us know or refer to as Whiteside Tunnel. Although some of the folks in the area still call it the Raccoon Mountain Tunnel. And what started it being built is this area that you see is kind of a little bit of a valley, and that slope hidden by all those trees. They had a horrible problem with mudslides right in this section. So they built that to be basically a cover or watershed. They referred to it as several different purposes. Now it looks like a train would never fit, but the reason being it looks so small is the other end is about 400 feet up. It does run downhill towards us, and therefore everything that runs through slowly has built up and created a dam, as you will, or kind of you see that tree laying there and that luscious grass, how green it is right there. Hello, Cody. Hello, Real American Rail Fan. We were just talking about where we are. We are in Whiteside, Tennessee, at the site of the old 400-foot long Nashville and Chattanooga rail tunnel. So as I was saying, it doesn't look big enough for a train to go through, but that's because it's just deeply full of sludge and what have you. But in there is still the old parts of the rail and spikes and what have you. So if that was dug out, it would be much deeper. And you are currently facing west. So if you were to enter it at this end, you would be starting out in Hamilton County. And when you come out the other end, you will be at Marion County. And we're in a little spot here, and since we're on a limited spot, I'm behind the camera so you can see the tunnel and everything. Hello, Chuck! Thanks for jumping on with us. Cody and everybody's here. And the mosquitoes are here. And the rain is back. But as we were talking, Nashville and Chattanooga Railroad originally laid these tracks in 1852, made that tunnel in 1858, which, as I was saying, served as what they called a roof to solve their mudslide problem. And we do have the scanner on if we get, this is a rather active track, and it's a very unique section of track, which we'll talk about here a little bit. And then 1911, the rail traffic here became so significant, one line no longer would serve this section. And while it's hard to tell, this is a very steep grade uphill, which goes over to the old Whiteside trestle, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But in 1911, they took this from 1 to 2 tracks so they could accommodate the amount of traffic that was passing through here. After it was Nashville and Chattanooga line, it became the NC in St. Louis. And then after that, it became the L&N line. And after that, it's now the CSX trackage at this point. And it's kind of unusual, as I understand, it's been explained to me, sometimes this is called the joint line because NS operates over it. So you'll see CSX and NS trains pass right through here, right on the same track. And we are off, if you want to come here, I've seen many people stop by. It's just off Tennessee 134. And when you see the Hamilton County sign, that's where this little opening is, which we'll show you before we leave today. And there's just it's a one stall parking spot, and you can come here and visit. And like I said, the other end of that tunnel is 400 feet up, and when you come out at that end, like I said, it's all full of mud and sludge and water and what have you. But you can go on the internet and look up Whiteside Tunnel in Whiteside, Tennessee. And I believe there's a person that some time ago, before it deteriorated to what it is currently, full of mud, has been in it. So, and as you can see, the old style where they've lined, well, maybe you may not be able to, but they've lined the inside with I believe that is limestone to shore the walls up going in the entrance there. And once you get to the top of this mountain, all the way up, before long, you actually come to the area known as Whiteside, which is where the it was originally named the Running Water Creek was. And that's where the old railroad trestle was built. Just west of here, just a couple miles. Many of you from the area recognize or know this area because, as one of you just asked, let's see who that was. 19 crash 84 from the giant I-24 overpass trestle that you see. We're maybe 3 miles. So this is the road that runs, and we literally are parallel with Interstate 24. Like I said, I do have the dead cat on the recording device so that you don't get all the truck traffic, because since they're going uphill, you get so much of the diesel feedback from the engines on the trucks. So the old Whiteside Railroad trestle is just west of here, and in 1863, when the Confederates were retreating from the area after Chattanooga and the Battle Above the Clouds took place, and the Battle of Chickamauga all happened, they burned that trestle to slow the Union forces, because this was a major transportation connection. And for those of you that are familiar with the area, when you come out of Chattanooga, either NS or CSX, they're at Waxahachie, where we were 2 weeks ago, and we filmed all three, or the 3 railroad tracks there. Hang on one second, I think I heard something on the scanner. Hang on one sec. Well, it looks like our rain has stopped and the sun's coming out, so we'll see how long do we have a heat problem. But Real American Railfan, it is on Tennessee 134. Right there, you would get on here at Wildwood, and this runs up right alongside Hey Noah, how are you? I hope you have subscribed so we can stay in touch. Not exactly sure what my plans are for the moment, but that tour would be so cool. At the moment, I do believe I'm going to be, when we're done here, obligated for a function with my wife and her karate group today. But I will try and stop by. Maybe we can at least meet. It just depends on what our timing is. So, Noah, thanks for jumping back on with us. Everybody, Noah works there in the yard with PTI. And, okay, Noah, you see already, you have a fan club. I'll send you about 14 of these mosquitoes if you want to join the membership a little bit more. Anyhow, back to where we are. If you go back to Waxahachie, where the 3 tracks are side by side where we filmed, this is where this track splits off from. And it's known as the Chattanooga subdivision, and it's the CSX trackage that goes Chattanooga to Nashville. And as you knew, back at Waxahachie, the AGS splits off there and goes on down to Birmingham. And this route, once you go up to the mountain and you come down that trestle over 24, you'll be at Nickajack Lake, where you have that long section that runs along the water. And then you go through New Hope, across the Tennessee River there at Bridgeport. Once you cross over the river there at Bridgeport, there's a local railroad company there. And this then continues down to Stevenson. When you get to Stevenson, that's where we filmed a couple weeks ago at the old hotel and railroad depot. The right side of that facility, the track splits off, goes up to all our friends in Cowan. And then after Cowan, up to Tullahoma and eventually on to Nashville. And if you go on the left side of that depot, you go on over to Huntsville. After Huntsville, you'll go across to Decatur and all points west. So you can see how much rail traffic this section actually has and how vital it would have been, because this line would have connected Nashville, Huntsville, and all points north, south, and west from there to the rail hub there in Chattanooga. So, I'm going to jump back in the picture, although X-Subs really come out. I'll have to get my hat here shortly. What questions you guys have about where we are? Again, this is looking down the mountain, and if you were to hop on this, that would take you to Noah and the Debux yard and all the action there. And up the hill, and just barely up there, you can see right before the turn there is a whistle marker. For the next crossing, so they do call progress coming up the hill here at this point. When we first got here, it was raining pretty hard, so we weren't able to click on because I couldn't get the tent up, actually the umbrella up fast enough for you. Matthew, once you get his information, I'll give you mine, and if you will, well actually, if you will, since you and Casey are on whatever that other thing's called, if you will, I'll have Casey sending my information, because I would extremely love to have the opportunity to connect with you, meet with you, and hear about what it's like to be with PTI and what all you do in the yard. And as you know, you get to see everything coming and going. How cool is that? So we are going to hang out here for a bit. I have one other thing I want to look up real quick. Cody or American Rail Fan, what is the name for the rail company that's based there in Bridgeport? It's a small local line. And yeah, Chuck, believe it or not, that is the standard distance. And you'll be surprised how many times, before Casey taught me how to go live, I've seen a train side by side. Once they get up across the trestle, over by the cemetery where we filmed, I believe it was the interstate. No, it wasn't. It was the Illinois terminal coming down over there along Nickajack, and over to New Hope it runs single track. When you have, hey Weston, thanks for hopping on. Glad to see you're hanging out with everybody. Cody, Noah, Chuck, everybody's here. We are at the Whiteside Tunnel, west of Chattanooga, just off of Tennessee 134, where we, okay, Noah, Sequatchie Valley Railroad, I do think you're correct. Let me grab the other phone here real quick, hang on. We're still under the umbrella. As you all know, we have, for those of you in the area with me, scattered thunderstorms coming through today. Also, once you get over across the Tennessee River there at Bridgeport, and then looking up after you go through New Hope, I believe you're right about the Sequatchie. But there in Bridgeport, there's a third rail line choice that splits off, goes up to South Pittsburgh. So as you come across the river and you enter Bridgeport, there's one that makes a hard right, takes you on up to South Pittsburgh. For those of you who've been there, you've seen that track along 24, and it runs right alongside of town. By the way, for those of you in South Pittsburgh, you guys have a fantastic football team. And let's check. And where we are standing is Hamilton County. The other end of that tunnel is Marion County. Now all I have to do is figure out how to spell Sequatchie. Sequatchie Valley Railroad was originally part of the Jasper Branch Railroad that was founded in 1860. The SQVR, Sequatchie Valley Railroad, took over in the mid-1990s and now runs from Bridgeport, Alabama to nearby Jasper, Tennessee, and as you know, what we call a local railroad. I think their official name, Sequatchie Valley Switching Company. It is an 11.5 mile short line railroad connecting with CSXT. Wow, that's a pretty picture. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but there's a beautiful picture of life in Sequatchie Valley. Sequatchie Valley Railroad freight service for various commodities. Runs from Bridgeport to Jasper, as we said. And in 2019, Iron Horse Resources acquired this line and has rebranded that line to be Sequatchie Valley Switching Company as we know it today. So, how interesting is that? But you were right. Sequatchie Valley Railroad. Let's see what other questions you guys have. So for those that watch this in the upcoming future, they probably have the same questions. And if we want to count mosquitoes, you're going to need a calculator. All right, guys, let's see. Any other questions? Looks like you guys are planning a field trip. Won't be too awful long, and I have to field trip myself to a function for my wife's karate society. The gentleman that heads up the worldwide society that she's part of from the Philippines that brought it here to the U.S. is in town in Chattanooga today. I was hoping that we could hang on here long enough to get one more for you. It would be really cool so you could catch one going up the mountain and you can see how much strain the locomotive's under with the grade at this point. Here at the 139 bullet tested milepost from however many years ago. Scanner is all quiet, much to everybody's disappointment, including mine. We are gonna hang out here for until 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, I do have to make my way back east out to Appleton for a function celebrating a couple of the guys that tested today for different belt levels in the system that my wife is part of and teaches. Casey, how are you today if you're on with us? And Exxon is out for the moment, and boy, has it gotten hot. Hopefully we don't have a heating problem while we're here. So, if anyone's headed this way, I'm here till 2, and then I gotta make my way back east to Appleton. So we've talked about Sequatchie Valley Railroad. If any of you are looking for great spots, there, watch this in the future. There is a whole line of very historic depots. Once you leave Waxahachie and head west, you'll come to Bridgeport, and they've got an incredible facility. It's a massive station there. Great big covered carport area, bleachers on it where you can sit and watch covered. And there's a huge walking trail there, park, and you could drive to the other end, and if you do, that's where the Trail of Tears crossed over the Tennessee River. So there's a bridge, a walking bridge, that is about 30 feet away from the railroad line as it crosses over. There's a big drawbridge there, and you can walk all the way across the Tennessee River there at Bridgeport. So it's a beautiful, beautiful setting there. So Bridgeport is a must stop and see on your Railfan tour in this area after you start out at the Dalton Depot, the Freight Depot and Visitor Center in Dalton. Make your way up to Tunnel Hill, where Cody and Matthew are, and the Great American Railfan is, where you have Tunnel Hill, the old famous tunnel that you can still go in. In fact, it's an incredible excursion through that. Then up to Ringgold for the viewing platform. After Ringgold, go to TVRM. And there's more things to experience there that I can